All right, guys, moving on. Like I said, we have got a lot of stuff to talk about, so we're going to start zipping through some of this stuff. Ridley Scott and Noah Hawley are now working together to create an Alien television series. This particular article coming from Variety. The announcement was made on Thursday by FX chief John Landgraf as part of the Disney Investor Day presentation. Noah Hawley will write and executive produce the series in his 26 Keys banner with Alien mastermind Ridley Scott in advanced talks to executive produce. I think it's a pretty set in stone in that regard. But yeah, Alien. Noah Hawley, very well known for some of his other creations like Fargo and FX's Legion, based on kind of the Fox mutant X-Men franchise. I think this could be really cool. One of the presenter at the Disney Investors Day meeting said that they're looking to try and return Alien back to its horror roots. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And they kind of want to bring a little scary element back to the franchise. I think it's fair to say that Alien has typically been more sci-fi than horror, and it hasn't been quite as scary or interesting in that regard for many audiences, at least the last film, dare I say the last two films. And in my opinion, Ridley Scott has lost his touch just a bit. So to bring in a brand new, fresh voice, brand new, fresh filmmaker, someone who kind of knows what they're doing and knows how to reinvigorate franchises and stories with a very interesting, a very fresh take with Noah Hawley, I think this could be spectacular. Josh, I know you've never been a huge Alien fan. You're not a huge sci-fi guy, but you are a big horror fan. Have you seen the original Alien film, first of all?
Yeah, yes, a while ago actually. It has been a while since I've seen it, but of course it's classic, and of course it's like in the pantheon of great sci-fi horror. A movie that I feel like can be classified as sci-fi or horror, but a horror sci-fi or a sci-fi horror, like literally either of those categories. Yeah, and I think it's, I mean, again, you have a classic, you have something that's in the same, vein of like all these like landmark films, Psycho for, horror and stuff like that, and then there's Aliens, which is great sci-fi, Jaws. So it's a property that I think a lot of people like kind of like are like, the question will be, will they do it right? It's one of those kind of things where it's like, oh, will they do this one right? Because it could easily kind of fall off the rails either way. So yeah, I've seen the original, and I think this is really cool. Noah Hawley, freaking Fargo is like, I think Fargo and like Legion. I've only seen a few episodes of Legion, but
what a mind-bendy show!
Awesome.
What a mind-bendy show!
It was such a great show because it was it just had so much originality and creativity behind it. Same with Fargo. Fargo was one of the best written and best produced shows, I think, on television consistently. And so I think they got the right person. They got a person who seems to know what they're doing for sure. So it all comes down to, I think, execution of the concept. But yeah, I think it could easily be a great show. I think maybe some people might have a little bit of Alien fatigue with all the sequels and all the sort of, but that's with any property that.
But I think that's the smart move about making a series out of it as opposed to another film, is that you get to explore a very different corner of this Alien universe. You get to take it into a smaller scale. It doesn't have to be the scale of a big movie, and you can focus on storytelling as opposed to big budget action sequences, right? And they are going to have big action sequences because guess what? It's Alien. Even look at Legion. They had big budget action sequences, but done on a small scale, and it looks they funnel their money into I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, they channel things into their proper zone so that things feel and look appropriate. And I think I think that's a really smart move. And if it doesn't catch on, hey, it's on FX, right? It's not like this major tentpole thing. It will be for FX, but in terms of the franchise, it's not going to be a game changer unless it catches on.
And FX is really good with John Landgraf, right? Is FX, right?
Yes,
I believe. And so he seems, with American Horror Story, with they've had a lot Pose. They've had a lot of original content that has come through that is very. I feel like they keep their hands away. And I've heard interviews with him, and he's like, we try to keep our hands out of the pot here and let our creatives do what they're meant to do. Again, like what we were talking about earlier. So like with Ryan Murphy and American Horror Story, American Horror Story is pretty groundbreaking in a lot of ways for a lot of like, whoa, like that's insane, to the point where FX got some flack, I think around season 5, because it was too much. And there's definitely arguments for that. But FX is definitely a network that is going to sort of support the vision of the filmmaker, I think, more so than a lot of other networks probably. So I think that's a good move, I think, for FX, because it's going to be something where, like, you do your thing, we're going to stay out of this. You guys are the creatives.
Yeah.
We'll sort of just make this happen, which I think is, again, they're really stacking the deck in the right direction. So let's hope that all sort of pays off, because FX does have a really different kinds of shows, and they're all very sort of like, I don't want to say auteur, but they're very sort of like, oh, this is definitely a Ryan Murphy thing. Oh, this is definitely a thing. So hopefully Ridley Scott will be able to,
and I think you hit the nail on the head. FX is one of those networks that lets creatives be creative and be kind of in control of their property as much as they need to be. Question for you guys is, what do you think of an Alien television series coming to FX? Are you excited by it? Are you over the Alien franchise? I'm interested to hear what your thoughts on this project might be. Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know what those are. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what Scrooge McDuck would want you to do. DuckTales, woo!